All right, joining us now on Can I Media here in Banff is Dave Fennell. And Dave, you work with Imperial Oil. Tell us about your titles. What are your titles first? Because you've got two.
Yes, I'm the Senior Safety Advisor for Imperial Oil Resources and Senior Technical Professional for Safety for the ExxonMobil Production Company.
Okay, and safety is what we're talking about at this conference. Today you were talking about human factors in safety.
Yeah, and human factors is all about the interaction between the safety of the facilities, the management systems, and the people in this integrated approach to managing safety.
When you talk about the oil industry, Imperial Oil, large company, we've talked to people here. Safety is obviously very important to them. How have you seen things change over the years?
It's changed marvelously over the years. When I look at when I first got into safety 27 years ago, there was no science behind it. There was very few support structures. And now you come to something like the Petroleum Safety Conference in Banff. You see professionals in safety. You see science behind it. You see research happening in it. Support networks. Such a treat what we see in 2013 versus 1985.
Does it seem like it's too much sometimes for somebody who's been around for a while? Does it seem like it's safety overkill? Bad choice of words, perhaps. But yeah.
No, we have to be careful that we don't overload our workers. But for the professionals in the industry, no, we need to have all this information. We need to have the knowledge and the science behind it. Screen that, make sure we're passing on to our workers what's practical and not overloading them.
So when you're talking about human factors when it comes to safety, what are some of the factors involved?
We describe at Imperial Oil human factors in things like workplace design, equipment design, the physical activities, the work environment, stress factors, personal factors, information transfer, anything that has to do with the interaction of a worker with the equipment or the interaction of a worker with the systems.
Does the worker have much say when it comes to the work that they're doing? Or are they basically told this is how it's done, this is how it's been done, this is how you will do it?
And that's going to depend on the company. If you have a company with well-educated workers who understand safety and want to be involved in safety, definitely looking for their input. There will be times where workers need a lot more direction, rules-based safety, but for the most part, we're getting quite a knowledgeable workforce in the oil industry, people bringing information back from a conference like this. So yeah, workers do have a lot more input than they did in the past.
One of the things that you hear with this industry is we want to make sure everybody gets home alive, which is not something you hear in every industry. Technology has no doubt changed quite a bit to ensure that workers are safe when they're on the rigs and doing the job.
Oh, absolutely. And some of the research that's happening is, basic protective equipment. We're making huge strides in that. In Alberta, understanding that workers now are more exposed to steam and hot water than they ever have in the past. There's research happening between the industry and the University of Alberta to try and find better protective clothing to protect against steam and hot water. So better equipment, better technology, better ways of preventing incidents.
Often when you see a sector that the oil industry obviously very keen on focusing on safety, it can also, I guess, bring about another industry where people just flood the market with stuff and go, this will work, this will keep your workers safe and all that sort of thing. Is the oil industry an area where this is happening, or it might be a concern at all?
So it's a concern. And where it's a concern is when somebody's implementing safety and don't understand the science behind it. Somebody who's not a safety professional, they become prey to some of the unscrupulous consultants who may be trying to sell a product rather than make you safer. I think well-educated safety people, people with safety background, will be able to see through sales pitch and make sure that what they're getting is good safety products, good safety advice, and not just a sales pitch. But are there people out there giving the sales pitch? There's a few. And I'd even give names off the camera.
Okay, that's it with Dave then, and we'll get those names, perhaps not for you, but for us. You know what? Last thing for you here as well. The industry just getting stronger when it comes to protecting the workers and the environment. Do you find it's going in that direction in both areas?
Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot of progress we've made in safety, understanding how to prevent injuries, how to prevent equipment damage, and more we find the same techniques are needed to prevent spills. So as we get the environment piggybacking on some of the safety processes, because an error is an error, whether it results in an injury, equipment damage, or a spill, if we can prevent the errors, we prevent all those incidents.
Wonderful. Dave, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We've been chatting with Dave Fennell with Imperial Oil here on Can I Media.